Do you know what a bounty hunter is?
You kill people, and they give you a reward?
Better they are, bigger the reward.
I'm looking for the Riddle Brothers. However, I don't know what they look like, but you do.
They called my wife. They sold her. But I don't know who to.
Calvin Candy. That's the repellent gentleman who owns her.
Broomhilda is my property, and I can choose to do with my property whatever I so desire. Help me find the Riddle Brothers, and I'll take you to rescue your wife.
I should really just begin this intro off with one long beep.
Why did you say the N-word? Come on. God.
You mean ninja?
Yeah, ninja.
In Paris.
Ninja Hua is a solid fighter.
Ninja, please. Alright, we are here to talk about Django Unchained. Let's stop saying ninja so much, because I know I'm going to eventually screw up.
Did you all see the video where Samuel L. Jackson is being interviewed with some guy who tries to talk about the race issue, and Samuel L. Jackson won't even discuss it, and this guy, until the interviewer says the N-word, and this guy refuses, and it's just the most awkward minute of interviewing ever.
I've seen that, yeah. I have seen that.
Oh, dude.
So are we all just going to say ninja to replace the N-word?
No, seriously, every time that you say I'm seriously freaked out someone's going to keep going and say it for real.
We're all a bunch of white people, okay?
Exactly. We don't have the right.
Way to
Man, you're the whitest motherfucker here. Alright. You're wearing a My Little... You're wearing a My Little Pony hat, Maz. You're the whitest motherfucker here, and I'm including
You've never
Cal,
actually seen me. You don't know if I'm black or not.
Are you implying that all bronies are white? That is racist.
That hat was forced upon me by my sister. And fans.
Aww.
Sometimes I look about and I think of Hey Arnold because I like the shape of it.
I think we can't continue this conversation because Aaron appears to have killed himself.
Oh, great, who's going to edit now?
I'm waiting for the call to drop here.
Alright.
Okay.
Let's just be cool.
Okay,
Maz, tell that bitch to be cool and take the hat off you.
Oh, dude, we're talking about older Tarantino movies. Let's do that. Let's talk about some awesome... Welcome to the Jackie Brown cast.
Aaron, I can't do that. It's physically impossible.
Anyway, okay, this is a good way to start off a Django Unchained review by talking about nonsense that no one understands. Anywho,
like every Quentin Tarantino movie.
Yeah, decide what I meant by that. Anyway,
we spent about 5 minutes talking about nonsense, then it all comes together in one punchline.
Anyway, as I said, we are talking about Django Unchained, is the Quentin Tarantino film that is nominated for Best Picture this year. I am being joined by a plethora of people, some of whom have seen the film, some of whom haven't. Who here has seen the film?
Me.
I've seen the film.
Me.
Oh, wow, so everybody but Michelle.
Yeah.
Okay.
Sorry, I guess I'll leave then.
You can just do what I do on all these and just randomly interject unfunny jokes.
Yes, except my jokes are actually funny.
Exactly.
No, your jokes are going to be along the same audio track as mine, so I can't edit them out. So, stop. Alright.
Have fun editing, Alan.
Oh, for the love of God, are we never going to get started?
Fuck all of you. We
clearly
are
we're
5
done.
minutes into this. Alright. Okay. Stop. Pause.
Collaborate and
We're here
to mention something. Because I want to be daily, more like a heartful daily and nightly.
We're only ruining this because
Stop.
Have a time.
Okay, we are here to talk about Django Unchained, and for those of you wondering why there is a sudden pause there, it's because I had to just edit out 3 minutes of fucking nonsense. Anyway.
So you're talking about Quentin Tarantino movies?
Shut up! No one's talking.
You should have said we just had to censor out all the N-words that were in this review.
Okay, we're now just repeating the jokes that I just edited out of the fucking 3 minutes of nonsense.
But that's funny now!
We are talking about the Django Unchained, the Quentin Tarantino film that is nominated for...
Serious face.
We are talking about the Quentin Tarantino movie, Django Unchained, which in 5 minutes is going to be the second biggest massacre I've ever seen, because I am joined here by Mike, Maz, Jackson, Callum, and Michelle, all of whom, aside from Michelle, have seen the film, and we're just going to do our review. This film, it's been a little bit controversial, and we'll get into that, but the film is about Django, played by Jamie Foxx, who is a slave that is freed by, what's his name? Christoph Waltz. But what's his name in the character? Dr.
Schultz.
King?
Dr. King Schultz.
Yes, Dr. King Schultz, subtle there. And he then turns him into a bounty hunter, and he needs him to be a bounty hunter so he can track down these two guys, who Django's one of the only guys who's actually seen him. And Django agrees to help him if he'll train him to be a bounty hunter, and so that he can then go and save his wife, who is currently a slave working for Leonardo DiCaprio's character, Monsieur Candy. Let's get right into this. Anybody, who wants to start with their opinion of it?
I guess I will.
Don't sound too depressed.
Are you sure? Are you sure we can take over? You don't sound super happy about this.
No. Okay.
Yeah, let's go ahead and place this all on the table. I've got to go ahead and place this on the table.
What are you saying?
All right, I like this movie.
Oh, okay.
I think it's really, really good. I give it a B+. That's my review. I'm going to get that out of the way right now and just say my review is a B+. I'm saying this because I've got a lot of problems with this movie, and I know by the end of this review, it's gonna sound like I hate it, but I don't. I just want everyone to know this going into this. I do not hate this. In fact, I like it and think it is a good movie. I just have problems with it. So I just have to prepare that. Anybody else? Anybody else want to go ahead and just start off?
I gave it a B. 4 stars, equivalent, whatever it is. Yeah, solid B. It was good.
Okay. Is there anybody here that just absolutely loved it? Because I know that seems to be...
Me.
You did? Alright.
I gave it 5 stars with one major reservation, which I'm still can't make. I love the movie as much as is. I think I'll just get that reservation out way now. Is Django's wife, played by Kerry Washington, is not a character. She's a plot device.
That is one of my big problems with this, is that, this whole movie is about Django. He goes to save his wife from Monsieur Candy. It's this incredibly dangerous mission that he's been set out on, but he's doing it all for love, and he loves her. We don't know why. There is, we never see their
Did you any of you see the original script? Because there was a whole flashback about Broomhilda that got cut out for time in the end.
Oh, well, good for the original script.
Yeah,
We're not reviewing
we can't talk about what wasn't in the film.
I'm just saying that.
But you don't understand. The Phantom Menace is actually good when you read the extended universe that went into it.
I'm just
no,
saying
I understand.
Unfair Star Wars reference.
I understand. I'm just saying, good for the original script, but in the movie itself, we don't actually
be a character though. She's a plot device that walks.
Yeah.
I don't.
Yeah, I kind of disagree with that because that's the whole point of Django's journey is her, and you just don't give a shit about her at all.
Yeah, exactly.
We're told he loves her.
If the Maltese Falcon was made out of copper, no one would have given a shit. But it's valuable, and we know that, and so that's why it's important. In this, who gives a shit about Brunhilde?
You're not supposed to. It's about Django.
Then why do we forget him for 20 minutes of the fucking movie when it just turns into the Monsieur Candy show, and Django just becomes a prop in the background? I mean, that's one of my problems.
Doesn't give a fuck about his focus and pacing. He does what he wants to do in individual scenes and kind of cares more about them than the whole movie. That's why it stops for 5 minutes and becomes Blazing Saddles.
Yes, it does. It totally does. Quentin Tarantino, you're right. Quentin Tarantino directs solely from his id. He's the Hulk when it comes to directing, and he needs that guy to aim him at something. I'm amazed I was able to fit an Avengers reference into a Django Unchained review.
Are S.H.I.E.L.D.? Oh god, the Weinsteins are S.H.I.E.L.D.
No, Weinstein
I recognize.
Weinstein's are that evil corporation above S.H.I.E.L.D. The people want to nuke New York.
I just imagine them going now. I recognise Harvey has made a decision, but just considering it's a stupid ass decision, I've elected to ignore it.
But yeah, speaking of stupid-ass decisions, the Oscars not nominating Leonardo DiCaprio.
I have no idea how the fuck they did. No.
Leonardo, people always said, "Oh, I can't believe Leonardo didn't get nominated for this or this or this." The Hollywood clearly, the Oscars just clearly have it out for him. And I was like, I didn't really like him in that or that. I'm kind of with the Academy on this. The Academy is just out their fucking mind for not nominating him on this one.
He is one of the best. He is like one of the best evil bad guy villains that I've seen in ages, because he thinks that he's somebody like, say, the Joker in The Dark Knight, kind of a despicable, deplorable man, but he's also kind of charming and affable, so it makes him entertaining to watch. Whereas he's actually just a huge, horrible dick who is
he's just a dick. You're right.
And also that dinner table scene, which was pretty much the moment where I completely stopped seeing it as like Leonardo DiCaprio, and just started seeing it as Mrs. Calvin Candy, asshole, and evil motherfucker extraordinaire.
Yeah, and that's always been my problem with Leonardo DiCaprio, is that he's one of those guys who every time I see him on stage, I go, that's Leonardo DiCaprio up there. This is the one time in which it was a character up there. I did not see him at all. I mean, it was incredible how he just completely morphed in that character. He was so morphed in the character, he broke his hand in one scene, cut it open, blood gushing out of it, kept on going.
And just had the rest of the film with a bandage on it. Written into the script.
But exactly. There's a scene there in which you'll see all of a sudden his hand is bleeding. I was like, where the fuck did that come from? Yeah, he smashes glass under his hand when he was pounding on the table, and he just kept acting. It's incredible to me that he was able to do that. That is, I mean, it is shocking that they did not nominate him for that.
It boggles mine.
Although, let's take the good with the bad, because I've also seen a ton of people out there going, man, the Academy is so racist for nominating everyone in that movie except the black guy. Go fuck yourself. Jamie Foxx?
That good.
Not that good, no.
Jamie Lee Curtis as Django.
I almost said that. I'm not even going to try and pretend.
I'll pay to watch that movie.
I'm not even going to pretend like I didn't almost say that. I totally almost said Jamie Lee Curtis. But Jamie Foxx, yeah, I get that he's supposed to kind of be, like, mysterious and, like, kind of just, like, very sullen. Like, I do enjoy seeing the change that he goes through of being, like, very shaky and nervous to being a cold badass, but he's not really a cold badass. He's more just blank.
Yeah,
I thought it was great, but I just thought his performance was, like, very subtle. Like, it wasn't, I mean, probably, like, due to, like, most everybody in that film is, like, it's for the most part like wall-to-wall ham, and his character.
Once again, this is a Quentin Tarantino film. Subtle is not in his mental dictionary.
I thought all the performances were actually pretty comparable, because they're all kind of playing cartoony versions of a paper-thin character with very, 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 very sharp dialogue, and that's what Quentin Tarantino has been doing since Kill Bill. He hasn't really been into the whole Jackie Brown depth thing recently, so
you're absolutely right.
Yeah, so you got Christoph Waltz, who's very good at being Christoph Waltz, but he's just Christoph Waltz, and then you have Django, who you have Jamie Foxx doing his kind of cold killer thing at the end, and he's good at it, but that's all he's doing. There actually isn't much meat to the characters, I don't think.
And I'm glad that you brought up the comparison to Kill Bill, because a lot of people have been complaining about the shift in tones and how it's just kind of like they feel like it's a little bit all over the place. I really don't feel like it's that all over the place, because I feel like the first half of this movie is just kind of a almost fun, lighthearted,
kind of like a buddy road
comedy. Yeah, like a buddy road film almost in the Old West. And then all of a sudden it goes, and after a long, cold winter, and then it becomes very serious.
The first 45 minutes are the best part of the movie, and I'll straight up.
I agree with that. Totally agree with that. But to me, this film would have been so much better if they had actually just split this into two films.
Well, it's weird because
it would have been better if it was
two films. But
it was long enough as it was. It didn't need to be two films.
Yeah, I think it's too long, but I don't know what I cut. It's because to shorten that movie would be to have to cut out the sequence with the pre-Ku Klux Klan, and I refuse to accept a movie without that scene.
I would cut the KKK scene easily. It was just kind of stupid.
A lot of people were split on that one, because, I think it's stupid, but I think it's hilarious.
Yeah, it's hilarious, but it's hilarious, and I refuse to have a film without it.
Well, the pacing problems of this movie come from a very specific thing. Is that you have one job at the beginning that's done very quickly, very efficiently, and then about half of the movie is a lie. The Django and Schultz are playing characters within characters, and it's all one con.
You know what? You're right. Yeah.
Actually, no forward momentum there, and there's lots of sideways things with the Mandingo and all the killing there. It's all building up to that one moment, but it is for the more tighter set pieces that happened before. It is basically an hour building up to one moment of catharsis, which actually throws off the pacing entirely. I think that's where a lot of people's problems come from. Is that middle pacing is just it's stretched a bit too much.
Yeah, I can agree with that. And but yeah, I
found it like surprisingly adept at pointing out the cost of life, and that whole idea of like, no, that man's worth $12,000, that man's worth $300, you're not worth anything. Just like people who deal in human life.
I can see that as how, like, kind of like they're saying, like, the bounty hunter is very similar to the slave owner, because the slave owner pays a certain amount to purchase another human being. The bounty hunter is paid a certain amount to end another human being. Let's see. What was all the other stuff that I wanted to talk about? You know, we've talked about the total shifts.
I'd like to just give quick praise to Samuel L. Jackson, who turns in an actual performance, but also manages to essentially play an evil version of Uncle Ruckus from the Boondocks.
That's what I was thinking. Which my white guilt inside me says, don't say that's a good performance, because it's an amazing performance. But it's an amazing performance playing the worst black stereotype ever. I mean, it is like, it's meant to make you feel uncomfortable, and which it does.
What was his black stereotype? Because I must have missed that. I just saw him as evil, like Samuel Jackson. Honestly,
no, he's the racist black man.
But also, don't make me say it. The house slave.
Oh, is he supposed to be like an evil Uncle Tom?
Yeah, basically, that's what it was meant to be.
Okay.
Yeah, that's what it was meant to be. Yeah, the evil Uncle Tom, basically. Which, yeah, and I mean, if you watch, because this is based on, like, a lot of people have been saying, oh, well, this is Quentin Tarantino trying to do a spaghetti western. It's not. It's Quentin Tarantino doing a blaxploitation western. Because what a lot of people forget about blaxploitation is that blaxploitation wasn't a genre. Blaxploitation was an adjective to put in front of other genres. Because blaxploitation, there were blaxploitation horror, blaxploitation romance, blaxploitation crime, and there were also blaxploitation westerns. And yeah, there's a lot of stuff from those old blaxploitation westerns that were put in here. In fact, there's even a moment in which they say the name of another blaxploitation western, which he was clearly taking influence from in this movie. I won't say it because there's a moment in which they are sending a slave out into the field and say, "Go on, run, Ninja Charlie." And you guys know what I mean, but yeah, that is the name of an old blaxploitation western, and yeah, it's clear. At that moment, I went, he is very clearly trying to say, this is what I'm paying tribute to.
Well, and it's Quentin Tarantino. If he wasn't paying tribute to something, he wouldn't be making a movie.
He was paying tribute to his glorious Australian accent.
Oh my god!
Yeah,
that's another part that could have been cut.
That is something that really brings the movie down for me. Is that it does reach that peak. It's all leading towards this one moment. It reaches that moment in this big blowout scene, and then it doesn't get resolved in that, and it keeps going. And I mean, everything after that, I didn't like.
Yeah, I feel like it definitely should have ended after.
I don't feel facing problems with that second ending, probably because I was warned in advance that there was a second ending, so I kind of just so I kind of knew immediately that this point is happening, we're going to keep going. But also, I think that second half is pretty much just like, because it pretty much kind of starts off as like a deconstruction as well of a revenge sort of movie, and then in the end just decides, well, we're going to turn around, we're going to do a straight revenge movie now because.
It's like he totally just changes genre in the last 5 minutes of this movie. Like, it becomes a Warner Brothers cartoon in the last 5 minutes of this movie. He shoots a woman at a 45-degree angle, and she flies off at a 90-degree angle.
I don't know. I think when he
It's a reference.
I think when he came in on the first scene with a giant swinging tooth on the top of his cart, it was a Warner Brothers cartoon.
Yeah, but that's kind of my point. Is that the first half of this movie is kind of just that it's in that spirit. Yeah. Then it loses that after that for the long time in which they're on the candy in Candyland. And then in the last 5 minutes, they go, well, let's go back to that at the beginning. It's like, ooh.
Actually, yeah, that's the point, because all the shootouts are the most, like, Tarantino's always crazy with the violence, but, like, it's ridiculous. This is clearly not real violence. It is people with squibs going to ridiculous extremes all the time, and it's unbelievable, but you buy it. And then it cuts to the section in Candy's house with the most brutal, uncomfortable, horrible violence, which doesn't jibe with the cartoonish violence that he'd been playing earlier and after.
Of the uncomfortable violence is you have this cartoonish ha 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 ha, and then it's like, oh no, here's a man being ripped apart by dogs.
No, I know. I get what he's doing.
The whole point is for it to be that way.
I get it, but then he kind of undercuts that by having
why
the
go
other
back
violence
to that at the
be
end?
So silly. Because there's a scene where Django hides behind someone's leg as cover, and it's played for laughs when the leg gets shot up and goes into like blood fountains. And it's like, are you against or pro-violence? Can I even tell what? It's a little bit all over the place.
What's your message supposed to be when you're doing all this? Yeah,
I really like the film.
Fickle and cheap.
Yeah, that's the thing, is that so many people feel like if you criticize this film, then you didn't get it, or you're not sophisticated enough to take it. No, you can criticize a film and still like it and still appreciate a lot about it. And that's all that we're doing here. Like I said, there's a reason I came out in the beginning and just said, I just want to say I do like this film, because, I've got lots of problems with this movie. And one of them, of course, being that big shift at the end. I mean, the movie, which has these messages about, just incredibly brutal violence and, discrimination against an entire race, ends with horse tricks. That's such a weird thing to go out on.
That's just what Tarantino's been doing since Kill Bill. Like,
I think
do you remember the end of?
I think it's purposely meant to, give the audience what they want, give them that release, in that purposeful sort of way.
I don't know about you, but no one in my audience wanted horse tricks.
It's like you see. Did you see? Remember the end of Death Proof? Do people remember the end of Death Proof?
That's the one Tarantino film I haven't seen.
Oh well, it ends in such a way of and just that final frame, and you're like, what?
Yeah.
Huh? Yeah, and it is this kind of cartoon juxtaposition of the serious revenge thing, and that's what he does now. I mean, he had a bit more. He seems to have lost his ability to have a nuanced view of revenge, but you know, it's good for what it does. I don't think it's going to set the world on fire.
Yeah,
but,
it's. I disagree with so many people who say that there is a lot of subtlety in this film. There's a few subtle things, and then aside from it, it's everything out there on its sleeve. And one of the things is normally in a Tarantino film, the references and such that he does are so slight that I don't really notice them. In this one, they're even things that I didn't know what he was referencing. It called attention to itself that he's referencing something I'm not going to. I don't really feel like this is a spoiler or anything, but there's a lot of people working on Monsieur Candy's ranch or plantation, and then there's one who very clearly is a woman in disguise, and that's never brought up, but he makes sure to focus on multiple times that there's clearly a woman in there and out in disguise, and I was like, what the fuck does this have to do with anything?
No, that's because that's Quentin Tarantino's gal pal for life, Zoe Bell. So. Yeah,
but that's the thing. I don't feel like you should give a movie a pass because, hey, that's just what the guy does.
Yeah, I'm not.
This is just what he does. How dare... Don't pick on the guy for being this way. That's just what he does.
I'm not defending him. I'm just saying that's why he felt like he had to do it.
Yeah. I understand, but it's like, Jesus Christ, that's where you decide to stick her in? There's so many other places you could have stuck her in. But, yeah, and also... we haven't really we've joked about this yet, but there is the controversy that came out from this movie about the excessive use of the N-word.
I didn't care about the excessive use of the N-word. It was a word that was used during that time.
Yes, it was a word that was used.
I'll agree, but
yeah, that's the thing. It was a word used during that time. no one has ever used any word as much as the N-word gets used. No, people don't use the word "the" as much as the word N-word gets used in this. And that is the problem. This is another one of those things that the moment you try and criticize it, people come out and say, well, hey man, that's just how it was, or you don't understand what they were going with. Watch this film. I'm not even talking about the offensiveness of it. I'm not. I'm talking about this solely on a writing level. Watch that film again, and when you watch it, replace the N-word with any other word you want. Replace it with black, African American, anything you want, and then think to yourself, did that scene actually sound good? It's used so much, and I honestly feel like the controversy behind it is kind of shielding it, because using any word that much, like in the beginning, yeah, it is kind of shocking. It does kind of make you realize like the harshness of this time and how people acted. But then after that, it just became white noise to me because it was used so much. And then it stopped being white noise and it just started taking me out of the film. Like there comes a point in which it no longer feels like people naturally saying it. It felt like a little kid who gets permission to use a curse word in the hopes that it will tire him out. Like, it just kept, like, it felt like a little kid who just got to use one curse word as much as they want, and eventually you just was like, okay, there's no more charm in this. This is, kid, you're annoying me. Stop doing this.
I think in terms of just the language writing front, the biggest problem with that is that he uses a specific word with, obviously, its big cultural and historical context of ability to shock, for shock, humour, and then also just as if it were a modern setting. So you got Samuel Jackson and Jamie Foxx trading barbs as if it's like a 21st century LA gangster flick.
Yeah,
you got the beginning where they're using it like it was in Blazing Saddles, and then you got the middle part where it's always being used in the most shocking, derogatory way ever, and it's more that the tone is all over the place, and it's hard to know what he's trying to say apart from one word over and over and over again for everything.
Yeah, exactly. It's like it's almost like that word was meant to just kind of represent any word that he wanted there at the moment. And that's another thing that you point out, is that how it's used as if it was different time periods. Yeah, that's another thing, is that this film, like, one of the big defenses of that is that everybody goes, oh, well, that's how they spoke back then. It's like, oh, you mean back then when Ray-Ban sunglasses existed, and when the KKK was around before the Civil War, and all these other things? That's like, no, this isn't how things were back then. But that's the one thing that you're allowing to be like it was back then, even though they are using it more than they used it back then.
It's fine to say to have all these anachronisms, but then
yeah, exactly.
And I don't think it's controversial. I don't think it's like a controversial thing to use this word in a film about slavery a lot. I just think on a pure writing level,
yeah.
If you had, say, you made a film today about a group of horrible homophobes, and they only called gay people one specific derogatory name for the entire time.
Yeah,
that's more the issue, I think.
Exactly. Yeah, that's the problem with it. And yeah, I mean, honestly, I find it kind of cool that he's doing a mashup of time periods. I think that can be a great. I think you can do some really cool stuff with that. But yeah, it's weird to don't use the defense of, hey, that's just how it was back then. When there were other words back then. But yeah, that's an excellent example that you put out, Jackson. But yeah, anyone else have anything they want to throw out there about the film?
No.
Soundtrack.
Okay. Yeah, oh wow, almost forgot that. Yeah.
It's
yay or nay
soundtrack.
Yay or nay on the soundtrack?
Oh hell yay!
Yeah.
I think I would have been fine with 100 Black Coffins if it wasn't featured in the actual movie. It's fine. You got your Western style soundtrack, maybe a bit of funk there, but suddenly hip hop, hardcore.
I
come down on the nay side on it because I like the songs.
I need 100 black coffin for 100 bad men. Oh, sorry, what are you doing?
Yeah, I like the songs, but I mean, like even like the non-rap stuff, like. As soon as Django first gets suited up on his saddle and his horse and they start riding out, I can't remember the song that was playing.
I got a name. It's so good.
Yeah, and I liked that song, but I was like, I don't know. I don't know. It doesn't feel like the tone with me.
That was the moment of the movie when they're riding out together and I've got a name played. That was the high. I was like, yes, it is on. And then it changed to a completely different movie, and I was slightly disappointed.
That
was where I was with it.
But I was fine with most music except for the random hip hop track in the middle. Because I also really liked the was it like James Brown playing during the first shootout at Candyland? I can't remember, but I just thought it fit really well.
It was. All right. Well, anybody else have anything they want to say before we go into our ratings?
I'd say the best thing I can say about it is that about 4 days after watching it, I just suddenly, I was just sat doing nothing in particular, it's like surfing the internet, and I just suddenly decided I want to go see Django Unchained again. I mean, I didn't because I was planning on saving my money to watch other Oscar movies, which then got thrown out without warning. But like, just the sentiment there, like I just suddenly felt that I really wanted to go see Django Unchained again.
I did see it twice. It doesn't hold up as well the second time. I mean, it was fine, but it wasn't like you watch Jackie Brown again, and that is a phenomenal piece of filmmaking. Whereas you watch Django again, and you're like, okay, now I'm a bit more bored during these middle scenes because without the tension, you are just talking a lot. There's not, yeah.
I'm too poor to go see a movie twice.
Yeah.
Where in like the Tarantino filmography would you rate this? Like, for me, it's my favorite Tarantino movie is still Kill Bill Volume 2.
To me, it's my number 4 film that he's done. I say that.
Well, can we just have everyone do the Tarantino filmography then? Go.
Jackie Brown, let's see, Jackie Brown, Reservoir Dogs, Pulp Fiction, Django Unchained, and then the Kill Bills.
Miles, go.
I would go Kill Bill Volume 1, then Inglourious Bastards, Pulp Fiction, Jackie Brown, Django, Volume 1, and I'm forgetting something, but yeah, that's the gist of it.
I think mine is Jackie Brown, Reservoir Dogs, Pulp Fiction, Kill Bills, then Django, then Death Proof, then all the way down at the bottom, Inglourious Bastards.
Student film he made when he was high in college.
No,
Inglourious Bastards.
Inglourious Bastards had some great moments, but Jesus Christ, shut the fuck up about 1940s movies, Quentin.
I'd like Inglourious Bastards way more if it weren't for the fact that when I walked out of there, everyone was going, "Wasn't that the greatest thing you've ever seen?" It was okay.
Well, that's when
calm the fuck down, people.
Just fuck people and yeah.
You just go fuck people. Is that what you said?
Yeah, that was. No, Aaron made a metaphor about how we shouldn't just something about mentally challenged people. Okay, trying to dig myself.
Yeah, keep going.
Aaron, edit this out.
Just being me now.
This out, please.
Maz is being led away in chains at the moment. But all right, what's everybody's rating that you're gonna give it? Mike,
A-.
sorry. A what?
A-.
A-? Okay.
B.
B.
I give it 5 stars or an A-.
Wait, how is 5 stars A-?
5 stars is like an A+.
5 stars is A+. No, 5 stars isn't as high as it goes.
Oh my god, you people!
In my world, you gotta get dirty. So that's what I'm doing. I'm getting dirty.
What's your name?
Django. D-J-A-N-G-O. The D is silent.
Adult supervision is required.